Hey PC World fans, Adam here with Gordon, and we get a lot of questions into our show, The Full Nerd. You can send those same questions into thefullnerd@PCWorld.com, and if we don't answer them on the show, we might answer them in a segment like this. So one of the things we talk about a lot on the show is buying a used versus new GPU. But I want to see, is it really an option to get a used CPU? When is it a good option to get a used CPU, and what kind of deals can you expect out there?
I think the first question is should be addressed is risk. Nobody wants to bet to buy a used part, have the thing be bad, and just be left holding a bag of sand, right?
Yeah.
I think in general, it's probably a pretty safe bet to buy a CPU.
Okay.
On used. I mean, as far as reliability, like, is this going to be bad? CPUs tend to be very, very hardy components. In my experience, it's pretty rare that they just give up the ghosts. Assuming you're buying from a place like on eBay, that you buy from a place they basically e-waste, 1,000 or 10,000 computers from your company. They take those computers, break them down to their components, and they sell those components off because they know it's a better value for them to sell it off. So those people know what they're doing. Also, if you're looking at buying used from, say, eBay, a big established company that is selling 500 or 100 or 200 of these, they probably have no problems like, oh, that one's bad, send it back, we'll give you another one. So if you're buying from somebody who's like, I got one or I got three, it's definitely a little higher risk. But even then, it's probably not a bad idea if you get a good deal.
Yeah, what kind of deals are you seeing out there?
Yeah, now if Elena was here, she could advise us on this, but there's actually fair deals on older parts, especially on Intel. There's just way more Intel CPUs out there. I was looking at a 12-core Xeon, basically for $100, right? And it's an older Ivory Bridge part, but for $100, you're getting a 12-core Ivory Bridge Xeon that probably sold for in excess of $1,500 and was brand new.
Well, can you still find the motherboards for it?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, because you never want to go, oh, this is a good deal, buy it now, check out, and go, oh, I have to buy a Supermicro motherboard for $700 now to run this thing.
Whoops.
So you got to be careful. Make sure you can get a motherboard that runs. So you got to do a lot more research before you buy these things. But the good news is a lot of times these things just sit on eBay waiting for somebody to buy them. And I've watched CPUs. I almost bought it was a high core count Xeon a few years ago because I wanted to build a system out of it, but it just sat there for months, and I just never ultimately did it. But you can do it. There's really some good deals out there in high core count Xeons. I was just checking Threadripper, not that great. There aren't that many AMD parts out there. They're only into the second gen of Threadrippers, so people are not really blowing out those first gen parts. And those first gen parts, they were such a good price. It's not like you're seeing a huge price cut.
Yeah.
When you're seeing a $1,300 CPU go down to $100, that's a pretty good deal.
That's a really good
The
deal.
other thing that there isn't a lot of really good deals are for fairly recent CPUs.
Yeah.
You go to, you want a Coffee Lake, you run a Ryzen 2000, a Ryzen 3000. If you find a good deal, yes. But generally, not the greatest deals around. And also, if it's a consumer CPU in general, people selling them on eBay are consumers looking to do their own upgrade and having to sell it to you. When you're looking at commercial parts like Xeons, you got people, they get paid to cart these servers off from a data center and then they sell the parts.
Got it.
So that's why the deal's better. They just want to get rid of these things. They don't want them to sit around.
And you think it's ultimately safer to go towards a part like a Xeon?
Well, only because you have vendors who have 500 of them.
Yeah.
You also sometimes will see, somebody go like, hey, I've got a quad-core KB Lake. Or I don't think companies will be retiring Coffee Lake systems yet, but if they did, like you have a company that says, I got 1,000 desktops, I need to dump these things. They pay that person the e-waste to come take the computers. They take the computers, they sell that Coffee Lake or KB Lake, if you want to go look for a KB Lake, that was in a commercial desktop.
Got it.
Right? It's a commercial desktop that's in a company. It's just a KB Lake. It's going to work fine in any motherboard that supports it. And that is actually a pretty good way to get a quad-core KB Lake, if you want it that way. So you can do it that route. But one thing I think we're overlooking when you talk about getting a used CPU is if you're going to eBay to buy a CPU that's already been broken out and is being sold to you, that person knows what it's going for. They know what they can sell it for, right? They know, like, I see somebody else selling the CPU for, they're selling their CPU for $300. I'm going to sell mine for $280. There's not that much wiggle room there.
Okay.
The other way to look at is more local listings, Craigslist or eBay for whole systems.
Oh.
Because a lot of people selling whole systems, they don't know what the value is, which is to your advantage. It depends on you what your morals are. If somebody's selling you their kid's 9900K because they don't want it in the system, that's good for you, right? But it is actually, I was looking just on Craigslist and I found just a ton of really good deals, whole systems. And the nice thing about a whole system is, hey, if this works, I meet you at Starbucks with a monitor, plug it in, turn it on, boots, whatever,
And
right?
You
know it works. And it was a Haswell box, 4770. It wasn't a K part, interestingly, I don't think. And it had a 1660 Ti. So somebody had recently upgraded it, and it was like $699, right?
Wow.
That's a pretty good deal. You're getting a decent quad-core, high-clock Haswell part. You're getting a 1660 Ti part, plus you're getting probably a bunch of other junk around it, but you can pull those parts out, sell those other parts, give them away, or whatever. But that is probably the cheapest way to get it, is to go local, look what people are listing, especially the ones they don't even know what's in there. Sometimes you just go and like, hey, this is, you know what it is, you know what the value is to get it yourself. Depends on how much money you want to give them.
Huh.
So I think it's very reasonable. And again, I do think I would probably feel a lot more scared about buying a used car than I would about buying a used computer. Because computers are generally fairly binary.
Yeah.
It's going to work forever, and it's just going to not work one day. And most computers work forever if they've never been heavily overclocked, right?
True.
So it's not as risky, I think, as buying a used car. It's just knowing those good deals. And I will say the people who go to eBay and say, hey, I'm going to buy a 3900X on eBay because I can't buy it at Micro Center. Why you're paying $700 for that for a CPU that's $500? That makes no sense. So just because it's on eBay doesn't mean it's a deal, folks. Remember that.
Okay.
So got to pay attention to what actual prices are.
Well, I'm curious to see what everyone out there thinks. When would you buy something used, and maybe even tell us some of the best deals that you have found, right?
There's nothing like bragging about the good deals.
The good deals, the good deals. That was the good days. If you have a question, you can tune into The Full Nerd, or you can email us at thefullnerd@PCWorld.com. If we don't answer it on the show, maybe we'll answer it in a segment like this. So thank you for taking the time to answer the questions, Gordon, and we will talk to you later.